So I've been detailing since 2011. Some of you may see that as a long time, others maybe not so much. But back in 2011, 2012, like the 2-bucket wash method was very well and alive in terms of the proper way of washing, right? And for the first couple of years, like I followed that method because I just thought that was the right way. And maybe like for sure from like 2013 to like 2019, I was very, very, very heavy into rinseless washes. Now, the thing I want to talk about today is when detailers want to do a swirl-free wash on a vehicle that's heavily swirled. And not that it's bad to do a swirl-free wash, but it's totally different when the vehicle is heavily swirled. If there's water etchings, there's oxidation on it, and you're still taking all these extra steps, especially if you're gonna polish the paint in the very next step. You don't need to be so delicate of doing a swirl-free wash on a heavily swirled vehicle. Angel, when's the last time you did a 2-bucket wash method?
Never in my life have I ever taken a wash bucket and a rinse bucket, dip my mitt in the wash and then in the rinse in between each panel of each car. And I've been detailing for 2 years and I've never done it, and never did I even start with that method or learn it. So yeah.
Lex, when's the last time you did a 2-bucket wash method?
Maybe like 6 years ago.
This isn't to be like a hack or to cut corners, but doing this as a business, you have to be realistic with what you're doing. So if the condition of the vehicle is to where it's actually corrected and polished and coated and it is swirl free, not that you have to do a 2-bucket wash method, but yes, it makes sense. It's the right thing to do the proper wash method to reduce the chances of swirling in the vehicle so you can extend the life of that paint. On the other hand, if the vehicle is swirled, there's water etching, there's water spots, there's love bugs, there's oxidation, paint's shipping, there's no need to go and think about doing some extra step work of a wash process, especially if you're gonna polish it the next step, because it's not gonna gain any benefit from that. By the way, for all the vehicles that we work on, we use our own Proper Care product. So this is the everyday car soap to clean the wheels, tires, the engine, the plastic and leather. We're using our all-purpose cleaner. If you want to give it a try, you can use Groove 10 at checkout on your next order and save 10%. And you can use it anytime. It's not just for new customers, new, returning, whatever. Use Groove 10 at checkout and you'll save 10%. Now there's multiple combinations you can do for a wash process, right? So you could rinse the vehicle down, foam it down, and then use one wash bucket with multiple mitts and wash the vehicle. You could do a pre-spray with an all-purpose cleaner, let it dwell, rinse the vehicle, and then do a rinseless. You can just rinse the vehicle down and then go into a rinseless. Maybe you don't need to do anything and you can go straight into a rinseless. So there's multiple ways to do a wash method, but more so is it's okay to adapt your process to the vehicle you're working on. So when we had that Raptor in for a maintenance, yes, like our wash process is different because we want to make sure we're reducing the chances of swirling the vehicle. Now on the Mustang Cobra that we had, it was oxidized, heavily swirled, paint chipping, dents all over the vehicle. So with that one, and because we were gonna lightly polish the paint, I'm not worried about, okay, I have to use 7 different wash mitts and 2 different buckets and I'm gonna foam it down, because it just realistically, doing this as a business, it doesn't make sense for that. We're charging, very minimum, or not minimum, but the customer's budget is very low. So we need to be able to work on the most important thing and still obviously keep the schedule running. Like as much as we'd want to do more, running this as a business, like we have to be very disciplined and say, okay, look, like this is the job, this is what we're doing, here's the constraint that we have in terms of budget, this is how we're gonna be able to tackle it. So with that one, we're not worried about doing foaming it down and doing this and doing that because the condition doesn't call for it. On top of that, we're gonna polish it the next step. So any little itsy bitsy bit of swirls or anything that we put into it are gonna be easily removed the next step. If you're doing this as a personal hobby and you're working on your vehicle, in your driveway, on your free time because you like doing it, you can do whatever wash method that you like. That's totally fair and up to you. Now, if you're doing this as a business and you want to make money and you eventually want to go full time or you want to make more money and book out your schedule more, you have to be able to look at a vehicle objectively and say, okay, this vehicle in this condition requires this level of work based on the customer's budget, their expectations, and the time window that you have, right? On your personal vehicle, yeah, take a whole Saturday just washing your vehicle. On a customer's vehicle, where they're paying you $300 and you told them it'll be done in 5 hours, well, you have to make sure you're gonna stick to a timeline so that one, you finish the vehicle on time, and then two, you're delivering the results that the customer is paying you for. Like the other day on Instagram, I had someone tell me I was washing a vehicle incorrectly because I started off with the paint first and then I moved to the wheels and tires. Now, generally speaking, yeah, you'd wanna start with the wheels and tires first, just as a, you know, that's how most people do it, and then you go to the paint. Now, as a detailer, when you're doing this, maybe you're mobile detailing, maybe you're working at your home garage, sometimes based on the condition of the vehicle or the environment that you're in or the weather outside, you're not gonna be able to do steps 1 through 9 exactly how it's supposed to be. Maybe you have to do step 1, then 3, then 5, then 2, then 4, because that's the way you're gonna be able to work. Like, there's been a lot of times when we're mobile where we don't do an iron remover because it's too hot and like it instantly dries up. Or maybe you have to work panel by panel because it's simply too hot. Or maybe you position the vehicle so that there's a shaded side to the vehicle and you work on the right side of the vehicle first, flip the vehicle around, and then you work on the left side of the vehicle. So when you're doing this as a business, you have a lot more constraints to work with, whether it be weather, the environment, or what the customer wants or what they're willing to pay for. So whenever it's just a wash, whether you're polishing, whether it's an interior detail, whether it's an engine bay detail, you have to be able to adapt what you do to fit that specific customer and what they're looking to get. Now, if you want to do more regardless of what they're paying you for, you know, go do it, but it's not gonna last very long. You're not gonna make as much money. Your time just kind of goes away, and it's not as fun when you're not making the money, but you're spending all this time on a vehicle.